Okay, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
We're at the Newfane Selectboard meeting, and it is Monday, November 17th. And first thing we'll do, and what I'm doing now, is to call the meeting to order. Thank you so much. We have a great audience tonight. It's wonderful when people show up and we can meet them and talk to them. So, was the meeting properly warned?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, good, thanks. And do we have any additions or amendments to the agenda? No. We are going to hold off on the approval of the minutes for the October 9th, November 3rd, and November 10th. We'll go over that on the next meeting because there were people who weren't here for various meetings, so we're going to do it when they're there. So we're moving right along to J. Wilson, Road Foreman, and Road Commissioner's report.
Okay. The access for the Mare property on Sunset Lake Road is completed and looks good. I went up there this afternoon. The Newfane Village Sidewalk Project engineering proposal from Fuss and O'Neill was not ready for this meeting. I tried since this morning to get a copy of it and they still didn't have it, so. Nothing new for the sand salt shed or alternative design we're trying to get figured out. And I'm still trying to find some grant money for Eddy Road box culvert. Our best looking option, the state spent all their money last year to a buyout, so that would have been our best one so far, but we'll keep trying. There'll be some more money I'm sure at some point.
Okay.
That's it, and winter's here, and if people could not plow across the road and shovel into the road, that would be great.
That would be quite nice.
Yeah.
Saw a couple trees down. They came down in the winds the other day.
Yeah.
How you holding up with your crew and everything?
Good.
All right.
I'd like to ask you to repeat what you just said about shoveling snow.
So you can't, by law, you can't plow or shovel into the road.
Right.
It's dangerous, and we have a few people around town that do it, or snow blow or whatever into the road. So.
Okay, thanks. Okay,
I make a motion we approve the road foreman, road commissioner's report for November 17th.
so second, Mike. All those, any discussion from anybody with this? No? So all those in favor for approving the road foreman's commission report, please say aye.
Aye.
And you don't have anybody else to say name. So it is approved. Congratulations, Jay. Thank you so much for your work every week coming here. Makes a big difference to see you. Okay.
Good night.
Thank you, Jay. Stay safe out there.
Forget it, I know. You got here while you can.
Higher Ground Cemetery Field Report number 2. Okay, this is garbage.
Good evening, Michael. How are you?
Me? I'm good, thank you.
Good.
Good to see you again.
Yeah, nice to see you also.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, you have something to say, Mike.
Well, I just wanted to update the board on what's been going on. Danny Taylor of Taylor Excavating, 18-year road foreman for town of Grafton, took over the project with great professionalism, thoroughness. The inspection reports that were made by Hodgman as required by the select board, I think they were all received to you, did the board members see them? And in each case, he approved the work at the stage at which he was making his inspection. Today, there were a series of emails from both the compliance office and the district coordinator's office of Act 250 saying you've done everything according to spec, thank you. and there's nothing more that they need from us to satisfy their requirements. So I had asked Melissa whether or not there could be approval of that documentation, which were the conditions of the select board's approval of the conditional use permit for operating a cemetery. And I don't know whether or not that's something you all could act on. Basically, the board had acted on it subject to conditions. The conditions have been met. So I'm here to see if there are any questions you have relative to the documentation and relative to the project itself. Maybe you've had a chance to see it.
Yes, I do have some questions. So on what you sent, is this from Mike or is this from Fisher?
No, that's from the attorney.
This is from Fisher. All right. So there was, he broke down the difference between a private cemetery and a public cemetery and the rules and requirements. I would like to see, so you filed your plat. So this is your plat, right? So this is your plat,
Yep.
right? Okay. Well, what I would like to see if you can add into the wording that, because, all right, and I'll read this. So typically cemeteries need to lay out the cemetery in sections, lots, driveways, paths, etc. The natural burial ground cemetery only needs to identify the locations of the burial remains by some ways of location that remain of the remains, i.e., GPS or something. The agency operating the cemetery needs to file a plat showing the driveway, walkway, paths, and the area of the remains that will be buried. So these are your test digs, right?
Correct.
Okay. Are we to think that these are going to be where potentially these are going to be burial sites? Or are these just to see if this general area is suitable for burial?
There were 120 grave site maximum allowed.
Yeah.
By agreement with Vermont Land Trust,
Yeah.
that holds a conservation easement. And what they had asked for and what previous board consideration allowed for was, once we get a what I call the trunk line going up there, which allows the excavation vehicle to dig holes, then we'll create paths that lead to those which are GPSed and would actually be burial sites.
Yeah.
4 years ago, they were marked.
So I was thinking, so I went thinking that in good faith that you're going to assume that these are going to be suitable burial sites temporarily, seems that there's nobody in there right now.
That is true.
Right. So I hope not.
So,
But so the thing about it is, what I'd like to see is you wording to reflect that the test holes as preliminary burial sites and a schedule of updating the plat with your burial sites. So after X amount of burial sites, the plat gets updated, or so many years. These, this will be something you can work on with this. But I mean, because we need to have a running record of what's of there. So someone could say, hey, so what I'm seeing is not a challenge, but something that you don't want to get mucked into later on, is that this sits in the vault and it doesn't get routinely updated. And then 2 years down the line, suddenly now you got to dig through old stuff. I'd like to see something routinely updated on this.
So, as it turned out, we had a board meeting just before now, and we're going to be increasing the board. There's going to be individuals who will be taking responsibility for specific things.
Okay.
And one of the subcommittee chairs is going to be working closely with me to figure out which burial sites would be the first ones to be used. And typically they'd be the one at the end of the branch. You've got the trunk and the branch. And so we would move typically, from there or from here. So what we would like to do is develop a plan, give that to you. However, we also think it would be useful to actually be underway. In other words, having an operating permit, but then committing to have an update for what you're talking about. We could have a preliminary one and then periodic, something like that.
Absolutely. We're saying the same thing on with two different languages, but yes, bring that. I, for one, am not going to move to do any approval without a full board right now. We'll table this.
Until the next meeting, right?
Until the next meeting, because I want a full board to vote on this. And there are a few items that that we're going to talk about with Mr. Fisher. That way, we'll have a full board next meeting, 2 more weeks. And if you could get something, a preliminary give that to Melissa of here, this is our preliminary idea for what we're talking about, where we're going to start here, preliminary, and just get something on paper and bring it to us.
Okay, well, that's reasonable. Okay, this is different from a more recent version, which has, not referring to this, which has a sketch of where those, where the branches lead. And
could you bring a copy of that?
Yeah,
that would be great, because the more visually we can look at it and we can go, okay, this is what's going on.
But it's reasonable, for us to make the determination which branch gets developed first. But because it's not, like a normal cemetery, we're trying to be as responsive to the forest needs as possible. So
I understand.
Everything we do is it's in connection.
I just want us to make sure our paperwork, that we have up-to-date paperwork at a more consistent basis, because I don't want something, try to find an old survey in that vault one day.
Yeah.
You've tried to find an old survey, and then suddenly, we can't find it, or it's not updated. So I would just like this project to stay on course.
Yeah. There is
updated as much as possible. Okay.
Yeah.
Meaning the whole select board.
Yes.
Okay. This is up to date, and this is what was approved. And Act 250 says yes.
Okay.
And then we got all the documentation.
All right.
So,
So everything that's been approved so far is all coordinates, like with Gordon and the rest of the ones that had the complaints originally too, right? I mean, everybody's all aboard on it now.
There was an agreement that we signed, and
No, Gordon said it was fine.
so
I just want to make sure, because that's what got us into it, right in the beginning. So if everybody's
No,
happy,
it's my intention to do everything we need to do to stay friendly with everyone. We're all neighbors, we're all trying to do good stuff here. And I've appreciated Gordon's intent to let's do this right, because that frankly has heightened our standard for excellence. So,
Okay. Thank you.
So I'll be in touch with Melissa about what the build-out plan looks like.
Just a basic, your idea of the build out plan. I would like to see a plan developed, even if it's on paper. You said you have a sketch, bring that. I think that sounds reasonable, right, Gordon? To just give us something to, here we go, and when we get the full board, we'll have the vote on it.
Well, it doesn't have to be warned, just a little bit different too, being a cemetery, so that's one of the reasons we couldn't do it tonight too. So it has to be warned as like a private cemetery or something. That's what Fisher says.
Cemetery.
So we'll have him get all.
Cemetery opening and different things.
Yeah. So,
Okay, I did not see Bob's communication, so I'm operating.
So as I say, we'll have him get all of that together too for our next meeting, and
If that could be forwarded to me, then I could be properly prepared,
Okay.
which you'll do.
Yep. I make a motion, we table this until the full select board.
Excuse me,
Oh, sorry.
Rob,
No comments, I'm
you-
just here
oh,
to
okay.
thank you.
Because you raised your hand.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
I'll
Second.
just make a motion that we table this till we have a full select board in 2 weeks.
Okay, Mike's second, and all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
No nays, so it's approved for next week.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mike, for showing up.
Thank you
And
very much
answering
for
any
your
questions.
attendance. Appreciate all the work you do.
Thanks. Okay.
Scheduled members of the public.
Okay, scheduled members of the public? Are you scheduled?
I did. I put them on our committee. But
Okay.
They can go. Let them.
Yeah, we can move, we'll move
Yeah,
that.
move
So,
up.
Okay,
Oh, sorry, sir. Okay, well, first off, before we get into the meat of the meeting, I wanted to see if you're familiar with these chairs, because we would like to either sell them or donate them to some nonprofit organization. They were the chairs that used to be upstairs, but for the
On the
last,
stage where you sat?
no, they were out in the audience.
Yeah,
Yeah, they were awkward, uncomfortable, and heavy.
yeah. That was the hardest goddamn thing to sit
Other
through the
than
meeting.
that-
with.
yes, absolutely.
So we just wanted to make sure, so we would either attempt to sell them, give the money to the town, or donate them to a nonprofit.
that's great.
Good.
We have
I don't
to
think the
say-
select board needs to make, I think that can be a committee.
Well, yeah, well, it's
If they-
town property, so we thought we'd
It's
check with.
town property.
Yeah, well, they belong to the town. But, yeah, okay, well, thank you.
I make a well, let's figure that one out. I make a motion that we give the Williamsville Hall Committee authority to do what they would like to do with the chairs that are the Iron Maidens.
Great.
All those in
Second.
favor?
Second.
Motion? You made
Made
a
and
motion,
seconded.
And you seconded. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Okay.
thanks, Steve.
Steve, officially, you can do whatever you want with those chairs.
Appreciate it.
If you sell them, just let us know how much you got for them.
Okay.
No.
I'm just teasing.
Okay,
So, the purpose that we're here is to just find out why the Rock River Players, we have one person present and one online. Hi, Amy. Is she muted? Oh, there you are. Hi.
Hi, guys.
Yeah. So, first, Bruce, why don't you say something about how important it is that the Rock River Players use the hall?
Sure. Thank you for volunteering.
Can you stand up, please, so I can see you? You're tucked behind John.
Yeah. Does everyone know this guy?
No.
no, can you tell us your name, please?
Bruce Rosso. Yeah, good morning.
Thank
He's a
you.
member of the hall committee. You know John, I'm sure.
Yes,
And Kate
Yeah.
My wife.
Conley,
Yeah.
Bruce's wife, she's also the secretary of the hall committee.
Yeah.
okay, thank you.
Addison, oh, that's right, I forgot. He's on the hall committee.
Austin.
You're surrounded by all of you.
if you go by nickname.
We have more members. They're not,
Yeah, the purpose of our work in the hall committee is to have a gathering place for the community, to make it alive, to make it vibrant. And I don't think it's ever been more alive and vibrant than these days. And the Rock River Players have been, Steve can go over the history of it, but long-term users of the space, following a lot of community members and then a lot of life within the village. And I think the agreement going way back was half of the proceeds. So, Steve can fill because I wasn't there when all that went down. But anyway, they have been wonderful partners. Because when you have that much usage, then you have like issues, right? And cleaning up and making sure there's opportunity for broad spectrum of the community to use the hall, and it doesn't become the Rock River Player Hall. There's been a lot of sensitivity to cleaning up, a lot of sensitivity to adding to the hall, lighting, different ways in which lighting inside for the stage, and we're discussing lighting outside at night, so when people come there, it's not so dark, leaving the performances and so forth. So we found them just to be wonderful partners, and from my perspective, it just says a lot about Newfane and our villages and the strength of the villages, and it is something that makes this place special.
Well, thank you for coming and sharing that, and I think we all agree we live in a very special area, and I feel blessed to be here.
Yeah.
I'm sure we all do.
So
Thanks.
I have a question. So there's two items that were brought up. One, when we were at one of the meetings, was we did not know it was 50%. It was, somebody said it was assumed by donation. So can you please explain how that is divvied up for?
Sure. So to go back to the beginning, Rock River Players using the hall, when they first started out, the attendance wasn't that great, and they didn't have much money. They barely had money enough to, they have to pay scripts, they have to pay the right to perform a play, and of course, there's costumes and props. So they just kept themselves going. It finally got to a point where they had excess money from tickets, and it was decided that the profits from the shows would be divided between the Rock River Players and the Williamsville Hall. So we had, I'm not sure if we had the donation fund, but we set up the Williamsville Hall donation fund to take their portion or half of the proceeds. And with that money, we have done, they're the biggest contributors to the fund. We make some money from the breakfasts that we have in the movies, and a little bit from Tai Chi, things like that. But we use the bulk, about 90% of the money we have to spend comes from the players. And for instance, so in 2024, the money that we got from the players into the donation fund, I'll just quickly read off what happens. Each month, the hall committee, the donation fund, pays half the cleaning costs. And after 12 months, it's $900. We also pay part of the Xfinity fee, because we need to have Wi-Fi and a landline for the fire alarm system. So that's also $900. Last year, we took $2,891.74 to paint the dining hall, which if you had been there recently, you would know was looking pretty shabby. We got a very good painter. She had to do a lot of spackling and plastering. She did that, and she also repaired the ceiling in the kitchen, which was damaged from the flood and the mitigation work that ServPro did. So there were a lot of holes in the ceiling that ServPro put. So she fixed that. That was $2,891.74. We also, just Rock River Players were having such a great year, we took $1,500 out of the donation fund and applied it to the whole heating account. And we paid Randy Clark additional $332 for miscellaneous repair work. We spent $629.95 for a new vacuum cleaner, which the hall needed. We also paid $851.13 for the screening fee that we have to pay to something called the PLLC, so we could show movies. Even though we don't charge admission, we still have to pay the copyright owners. And there was an additional $280 for some more painting that our painter had to do. So anyway, there was $8,284.82 that we spent on the hall. And that came from the donation fund, most of which came from Rock River Players. So yes, it's true, Rock River Players don't pay rent, but how would we charge them rent? Would we charge them rent each time they have a performance? What about all the rehearsals they have to have? What about the times people just come in to do some work?
this was more of a, we didn't know how specifically things were set up, so we wanted you to come in and clarify it to make sure that, you know, when you hear the word donation, one might assume $20 here, $40 there. There's a definite, here's a split, and it seems a very reasonable split of, you bring in $500, here's $250 for you, here's $250 for us. It seems very reasonable. It was just, we needed a little clarification on that.
Okay.
There was one other item that was brought up about conflicts of schedule, people wanting to rent the hall. However, Rock River has been, you know, they from the individual who wanted to rent it, you know, it might have been perceived as kind of monopolizing that. So how do you guys get with the town? How do you, somebody from Rock River, right? How do you get with the town and be able to, and do your coordinating with, this is where we're going to use it? Or do you guys go through the committee and do you go through the town? I mean, how does this work?
Be happy to speak to
Please.
that. I'm Bahman Mahdavi, and I'm speaking on behalf of, I'm here on behalf of Rock River Players. The way we do this is that there are short periods when we have performances, the week leading up to the performance, where we really don't have any flexibility. The rest of the time, we always give priority to other events that take place, and we work around it.
Okay.
There's a private event happening on a Friday where we have scheduled a rehearsal. We'll cancel the rehearsal. We'll move it some other time. There is we are fully aware that the Williamsville Hall is not our dedicated domain. That it's a shared community space for everyone. And over the last since COVID, at least, since the end of COVID, there's been an uptick of activity, yoga, community breakfast.
It's been wonderful. It's been absolutely wonderful.
So the only time where we don't have any room to maneuver is when we have performances scheduled. So, for example, on a Friday night we have a show. It happens to be Friday of movie night. We talk with Steve and the Williamsville Hall Committee, and we figure it out.
Okay.
If somebody comes and says, you know, they would like to reserve the hall for an event, for a private event, for a public event or whatever, and they see our name there, well, if it's something that we can modify, we're more than happy to.
So who does the scheduling with the town?
So Katie and I get like all the rental agreements and the money for the town.
Yeah.
And then I go through Steve.
Okay.
And he books it. There was a time that Katie and I were a little misinformed of the process of it.
Okay.
We were putting it in the calendar.
Okay.
And we noticed that Rock River Players was going all over our stuff. It turned out our calendars weren't linked.
Okay. That's where the confusion. Okay.
And Steve was very good to go back to the Rock River Players, and they made everything work for all the renters.
Okay. Great. And these are honestly didn't want to be confrontational. I didn't want. We just needed some answers. And I would like, personally, Katie asked for me to bring up one more item, is that can you please keep the lights on all the time during the winter months on the porch. It is so dark driving through that area. Those lights need to please stay on.
I can speak to that. I've had tenants who the lights being on are really a problem. It shines right in the living room, right into one of the bedrooms. So I would have to say I would vote against that.
You would?
I would vote against that.
Well,
Go ahead.
I think that maybe we could wait till the whole board is here, since Katie was here last week and you weren't, and now Todd is. We did have a discussion and we felt that it was
there's a lot of other kind of
With the exception of when Mrs. Thayer was taking dinners and lunches to Miss Flagg, there's never been a street light in Williamsville, with the exception of that.
Yeah, but it's very dangerous.
Well, the other night when the play, I'm sorry to interrupt, but when the play was going on, I was driving home and cars were all the way up to Walters and it was dead pitch dark. And that's, if you have, I will modify it and ask you politely if you could have the lights on while there's any events going on.
I think that, sorry.
Yeah, at the last Williamsville Hall Committee, Amy and I asked the following, and they said, well, you should check with the select board. Basically, our concern is that at the end of the show, after dark, we have anywhere between 30 to 80 people leaving the hall, coming onto Dover Road, and it is pitch black.
I know,
With cars on both sides of the
right.
road. So the motion detector light that illuminates just the porch is all good and nice, but it covers a very little bit. So instead of having any fancy solar motion detector, I was asking that the most simple way would be to hardwire to lampposts, old-fashioned lampposts with switches inside the hall. We turn them on at the end of the show when it's dark. People leave, people are gone, we turn them off again.
But why can't you leave them on like other street lights? It's a very dangerous and unsafe way for anybody who happens to
Illuminating
be
the road
walking.
is above our pay grade for the rock river players. That's a decision that belongs to the town of Williamsville and to the select board, so.
There were highly reflective traffic cones that are put out during the Rock River Players performances. And so, and they're reflective, they're bright, they're orange, and yeah. So as I
But
say,
it's a village where people live and walk, and they're confined in this time of year.
well,
It
there's
gets
a
dark at
sidewalk.
5 o'clock.
There's a sidewalk.
That the cars park
You
on.
say
Come on.
there's a
Yeah.
sidewalk.
John.
A lot of people think you don't have a
Under the
sidewalk.
cars.
Yeah.
There is a lot of different lighting nowadays, so I mean, we illuminate just to the ground or just, it's really dull, you know, you don't get that glare. I mean, you know, just like down at the cheese factory when
I
I
think
did
we
that
need
place,
to-
they put them little posts up and it just kind of lights, but it shines across the road, but you don't, it's nothing high. And I said, there's a lot of different things, which one of these days we're going to have a discussion on all that up through there anyways, because I got some ideas what to do over at town, and
Yeah.
Yeah,
Chris and I've been talking, there's a lot of changes I'd like to see come to it, you know? They help that town and make it look even nicer, you know?
Yes.
In favor of that.
Steve,
Ethics, we've discussed this among the hall committee, and we did at one point have lights. I remember when we had the light on in the porch all the time, we got a number of comments from people driving through about how much they liked having it. Even, and Jay himself said he thought it was a good idea. So it's a situation that needs to be explored further. And I always tell the people who live in the house, why don't they get shades? I mean, it's not a big, it's night, what are you gonna look at?
yeah.
The
The
lights that
stars.
the night will go outside.
They do, well, whatever.
But I think there's ways of accommodating everybody
just-
and making it
yeah.
work, so.
Yeah, anyway, well.
Yes.
So this
There's a reason. This
has been going on for what, decades, right? Decades. Williamsville Village, about there not being a sidewalk, about back in the day when we were in the Williamsville Hall and we voted to approve the funding for the sidewalk and we had to contribute. And I remember standing up then and saying, remember this in Newfane when we come for the sidewalk in Williamsville, that we supported the Newfane sidewalk and all this. So yeah, the village is dangerous. It's people speeding through, it's dark. We really need a comprehensive discussion and you know, so, but the short-term thing was that the Rock River players in Bahman came and offered a starting point.
Thank
Which are these lamps,
Yeah.
right? And that seems like, okay, at least we've got a total, well, they stay on all night. And it is light pollution, and people in the village are used to the village the way it is. And I think we have to have like an accommodation. I think we can figure that out. And like you say, there's different kinds of lighting, and there's ways to take, you know, people's needs into account. I can understand if I lived across the street from that thing being on all the time.
Well, I would be more than happy to, you know, if I had my druthers, it would be a nice sidewalk going from one bridge to the next if I could, but, and then,
Perhaps we can.
keep selling tickets, keep making more profits. We split it. We start working on that. How's that?
Mike, you say you have some ideas? Does it include lighting?
Includes a lot of changes up through there. It's gonna be a pretty conversation at the time.
Yeah,
But I think it might work. It might satisfy a lot of people, don't you think?
Yeah, it would. It would work.
So we'll bring it to you one of these days and see what it is, you know. But meanwhile, if we do what we want to do, we can help beautify that town quite a lot too.
Well, I think we can figure out some lighting in front of the hall that will illuminate the area right in front and the road and the area across. So at the end of performances, there'll be light for people to get home safe.
And in order to do that, we may have to hardwire these lamps that are outside, which means running lines, burying them. So do we have your authorization to look into it and eventually
explore whatever you need to explore as the committee and then present it to us. And if we need to approve anything, then we'll do it once the plan is been set up. I'm sorry. I have one more question after Steve. You go ahead.
I just wanted to reiterate and ask you if you have enough information now to understand the finances between the Brattleboro Players, the Williamsville Hall Committee Donation Fund, and the reason why those guys don't pay rent. Is that, probably if they paid rent, we wouldn't get as much money from them.
Yeah. It was wonderful. You answered all the questions that I had out of not knowing and still being new at this. I would like to ask you if with committee, when we have committee reports on every one of our regular meetings, I would like to see, you're the Williamsville Hall Committee. If you guys you can email a committee report to give us updates or something like that. That would be, or show up like the zoning committees and the planning commission, the committees. They show up every once in a while or give us a little feedback. This is part of our little governmental machine that just keep us updated.
Our meeting minutes come to you monthly.
Okay.
But yeah, I include Lynetta and.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Can you include Melissa?
Sure.
Because Wynetta is the town clerk.
Yes.
So if you get Melissa specifically, then we'll get them, Melissa and Kate. So
All I want to say is, I know with Steve and them, and I've known that's been going on with the money coming in like that, and you guys have done a lot since they started that. And I've always been supportive. If they need money for things, I like to help them out, because I do like to see all that stuff going on at that hall, because it makes the village look good. It's always something going on. It's just like with these guys using the Union Hall for their bands and everything. That place is packed, and I said that's what you need in these villages. And I said it does do good. Your whole committee since I've been on the board has been great. You've always came to us, told us what it needed, and you're really the ones that are overseeing it anyways,
The question it came up when we were at the last budget meeting is Williamsville Hall, and it had nothing on in there, and I was like, wait a second, how are they not getting, what? They're not asking for any money. They didn't ask for any, there was nothing.
The donation piece of it?
On the thing, and I was like, what,
That's
how
the
did they?
donation piece, yeah.
So it
You
was,
mean the appropriation?
it got the wheels turning and asking questions about, how are you getting this and what's that? So that's where that started. It wasn't anything negative. I just had questions, and thank you for coming and answering.
I couldn't answer about the Rock River Players and how you split that, so.
Yeah.
Just to finish on this, if ever you want any detailed numbers on the Rock River Players' contribution to the hall, be happy to dig back a year, 2, 3, whatever. And the primary reason that the Rock River Players has been growing by leaps and bounds is that young lady sitting over there.
Oh yeah. She's
our
pretty
artistic director.
all right. Yeah, she's okay.
She's our artistic director,
Yes.
and she is a dynamo.
Yes. And thank you.
Well, that's extremely kind. I will just say I'm extraordinarily grateful to the Williamsville Hall Committee for all they've done to steward the space that we get to call home. So thank you for having us, and I'm glad things are cleared up. We hope to keep on growing from here. So thank you.
Well, that's answered all my questions, madam.
Okay. Is there anybody else who wants to say anything or ask?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
so
very much
much.
for coming out in the cold.
Drive carefully through Williamsville.
Keep up the good work, you guys.
So we do know where you get really uncomfortable hardwood chairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, on the record, I disagree. I think the chairs are beautiful.
Oh, they're good to look at, but you sit in that thing for 5 or 6 hours.
You're going to disagree if somebody agrees with something just out of spite. You know,
gotta do
this
it.
is why I love you.
Check these chairs out.
Yeah.
Bent, hard, bent.
Oh,
Good. They could be
I
eaves
mentioned-
for all I know.
I mentioned that we wanted to, get rid of the chairs. And this was a person who was on the committee for many years. And she said, "You mean those heavy, ugly, awkward, uncomfortable things?" I said, "Yep, that's yes."
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good night.
Okay, good night, thank you.
See you guys later.
Bye, John.
Thank you.
Okay,
Administrative assistant.
moving right along, we are scheduling administrative assistance report, please.
Okay, so the soil test results for the old South Newfane store.
Yes.
I received a report from KAS Environmental Science and Engineering regarding the soil tested conducted at the South Newfane store. The results indicate that there is some contamination present in the soil that will need to be addressed. It's lead, arsenic, polyamoric hydrocarbons, whatever that is. KAS can prepare a corrective action plan and submit that to the Vermont Department of Environmental Conservation for review and approval. I spoke to Susan Westa at Wyndham Regional Commission regarding the funding for this plan, and she believes that there's funds available to cover the cost. So I requested a cost proposal from KAS to prepare for that CAP, corrective action plan. Cleanup cost is going to vary depending on whether the soil needs to be removed or if we can cover it up and do some grading of the land. Susan from Wyndham Regional also explained that the expenses of the cleanup may qualify for an 80-20 grant loan program. It's a little different than your normal grant. You would have to take out 20% in a loan at 2% of the, or the 2% is the interest rate.
Okay.
So, but it's better than, having to pay for the whole thing. We've also been coordinating with the Williamsville hall rentals, including processing the required paperwork and payments. And then I've been working with Attorney Bob Fisher regarding the next steps for the higher ground cemetery.
Okay. I'll move we approve the administrative assistance report.
Second it.
Okay, are there any questions or comments for Melissa? No? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay? Okay, thank you. Your report is approved. Thanks a lot for doing it.
So the committee reports are done. Unscheduled members of the public, there are none. No new business?
Bahman, are you here to, do you want to participate here, or are you just hanging out?
No, I sent a letter that you're gonna read. I think that since I sent the letter and I'm here, I'll just stay
okay,
here
great.
until you read it.
Good.
If you have any questions, you'd like me to
How come
clarify
I don't
anything,
have one?
otherwise.
That'll be in
It's under
correspondence.
correspondence.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so
Old business.
old business, new business correspondence.
Would you like to read the letter? I'm horrible at reading aloud, and so if you read the letter, that's the correspondence.
So, to the Newfane Selectboard, town meeting, a state holiday usually held on the first Tuesday in March, is a rare form of direct democracy, where residents assemble and become a legislative body. This form of direct democracy has become an extremely rare endangered species, where citizens can raise their voices directly, without going through elected representatives. It only exists in parts of Switzerland, Germany, and in Vermont. Here in Newfane, it currently takes 85 signatures, or 5% of the town's registered voters, to add an article to the town meeting agenda, thus eliminating any frivolous, parochial, or irrelevant topics. Any additional limitations to what can and cannot be discussed at town meeting should be vehemently opposed, if not for our own sake, then for the sake of future generations. It is never a good idea to take power away from citizens. That's it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right.
Drive carefully. Are you on your bicycle tonight?
No,
No,
not
good.
after dark.
That's good. Otherwise I'd be worried.
All right, so
Okay.
there's a Southern Vermont Municipal Leaders Network going on December 2nd from 9 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. at 1 School Street in Wilmington, Vermont.
Okay,
And
so,
that's it.
okay, so we're moving
We're
to
invited.
pay orders now?
Yeah.
That's it.
All right. Thank you everybody for tuning in and showing up. And you've left. So, all right.